Okay, so this is the structure that was done in July 2020. And it's what has been MPEG, which was working group 11 in SC29, now has been split into 10 groups, which is the 7 working groups and 3 advisory groups. And I'm just highlighting those here. And so on the left, you see the set of conveners who have been in charge. They have just been re-elected for the next term from January 24 on. With one change, we will have a replacement for Scala, who stepped down as a convener, and will then will be replaced. Okay, and so you see we have those working groups, the 7 working groups, and quite many of them are working with visual media. Right? So we have MPEG video coding, MPEG joint video coding teams with ITTC. Those 2 are basically JVET. This is WG5 is the most classic one, jointly with the ITU groups, and MPEG video is the classic group. That's the group that emerged from those who already did MPEG 1. So it's a big, long transition, but also MPEG coding of 3D graphics, and now it's also haptics. Has a lot of things that are concerned with stuff that we do in our advisory group. You find our advisory group down here. Okay. Quickly on the roadmap, why it's important to have this advisory group. If you just look at what's going on, so the first one here is audio, but then we have massive video coding. Yeah, so MPEG massive video. This is something where you have to determine the quality. Dynamic mesh compression. This is also something that renders to a visual system, so we need to be on that one. The geometry PCC is a little bit less. It depends a bit on what kind of data that is. This is also like later and stuff like that, where maybe no visual assessment is required, but just for this call for proposals, which is currently being prepared, it seems to be happening, right? LiDAR also is something that where we have to think if that's needed. If we look at then the other ones, systems and tools and beyond media is something where we are not so much involved with, but with the explorations, you see the lenslets. You see here neural network-based video compression that's opening a total new scope of what should be done. The explorations towards a potential successor of VVC, AI-based coding also. There's a lot of aspects there, including changes of artifacts that are produced by the systems which are under development or under investigations. And so this motivates a lot of work that we have in the advisory group. If we briefly review the terms of reference for 85, obviously it's about assessment of video quality. So this is for new technologies, at the beginning of standardization project. That's basically the end of an evaluation phase. Contribution to call for proposals. We will see examples of how that works for new work items. Contributing in the subjective quality evaluation, but also in objective quality metrics for the assessment of visual coding technologies. So, for example, CFEs or CFPs, test material for the CFP. So there's a whole lot of aspects. This one is very important. So there's the procedures to evaluate the visual quality on submissions to a CFP. We'll talk about that a bit. And but also, or in general, making such tests conclusive and making this usable for the standardization process. This is something that's really driving us in many aspects of work that we do. Right? And then the next big step is the verification testing, which is basically mentioned in this part of in this bullet. Maintaining of test material which is suitable, and then also developing guidelines for installation of test laboratories, but also we also have guidelines for the processes that we have, and of course we want them to reach out to other standardization organizations which are in the fields. In terms of organizations, how are we structured? The advisory group is not super large. There's a lot of overlaps with the working groups that are in there. But I gathered a group of chairs that we call focus groups. So we have basically one focus group on standard standard resolution. You may have high definition video, HDR. Then we have 360 degree, which is maybe the focus here is about to change a bit anti-aggressive video coding. So we are trying to cover the most prominent modalities. We don't have a specific denomination for a chair towards something like AI, but it's likely that we might rename this area here sometimes. Okay, in terms of structure, we also install ad hoc groups. Those are the ones which are currently active. We have one joint ad hoc group, which is on interactive testing of visual volumetric data. That's quite interesting because so far the processes that we did with respect to IV, so MPEG immersive video, or with partouts, or with the meshes, we always went down, or we went back to a relatively conventional evaluation method. And the reason is that those methods are well understood, reproducible, and people can accept the outcome. And so whenever we introduce a new testing method, we need to make sure that this is a method which is accepted, so that the results are also supported by the consensus of the group. And that's an interesting aspect for this purpose. So this is a new activity that we just had, and I'm really happy that we're doing this. And we have an ad hoc group on quality metrics for 2D video that exists already a little bit longer. We have had some focus on learning metrics, or also metrics for learned material, for learned compression tools. So then the last ad hoc group that we have is the ad hoc group on guidelines for subjective visual quality evaluation. That's basically maintaining the guideline documents that we have. There are two, one for verification tests and one for not actually. We will come to those a little bit later. Okay, so that's the organizational parts.